2:13 a.m. Everett Rourke woke to a blast that rolled through Blackstone Ridge like thunder trapped inside the canyon. From the porch, he saw his only bridge out of the ranch burning at both ends, flames climbing the cables as if someone had planned the whole scene down to the second. Across the gorge, Marlene Crowe stood on the far ridge in a dark pink suit, her golden curls pinned neatly back, watching the fire with the cold patience of a woman who believed she had already won. She thought the rancher was stranded. She thought the fire would break him. She did not know the bridge was protected emergency infrastructure. She did not know his cameras were still recording every second, and she did not know the quiet man she had cornered had spent years exposing people who hid behind power just like hers. Everett had built a hard, private life on the mountain after walking away from a career buried in corruption cases, emergency records, and infrastructure investigations. Blackstone Ridge was not a hobby ranch, it was his refuge. The stone house sat above a deep pine-covered gorge. His solar panels ran the property without outside help, and the suspension bridge was the only practical access route for trucks, crews, and emergency response. Years earlier, the bridge had been designed as a part of a wildfire evacuation corridor, with backup communication lines and water infrastructure hidden beneath the deck. Everett knew every beam, every cable, every weak point, and every line of paperwork tied to it. That was exactly why the Silver Pines Homeowners Association had become obsessed with his land. The lake, the access, the route, the future resort footprint. Marlene's board had started with polite letters, then compliance warnings, then survey crews, then fines that made no sense at all. Everett ignored most of it. He had seen enough official-looking nonsense to know when a campaign was hiding inside paperwork. The first clear strike came wrapped in a false plat map. The HOA claimed the bridge crossed common ground and that Everett's ranch had been violating association rules for years. Overnight, they posted boundary stakes near the gorge, sent contractors to photograph his property, and issued notices about fence color, generator noise, and supposed livestock violations. None of it was real. It was pressure, pure and simple, a slow squeeze meant to make him cave. Then the association's attorney appeared with papers demanding access to Everett's lake and the surrounding acreage, as if a mountain ranch could be rewritten by a clipboard and a stamp. Marlene stayed polished through all of it. Dark pink jacket, golden hair, calm voice, cold smile. She treated Everett like a man standing in the way of something larger than himself, which was exactly why she underestimated him. Every move she made was being recorded, sorted, and quietly saved. The harassment sharpened after that. Delivery trucks were turned around at the access road. Heavy equipment was delayed. New fines arrived every few days, each one larger than the last. Then came the night inspections, the hired maintenance crews, and the security vehicles parked where they could stare up at his house from below the ridge. The HOA began calling his bridge unsafe, then unpermitted, then illegal, then doomed. They pushed the county to review the structure, even though they had no authority over it. They tried to make his own land look like a public hazard. Everett noticed something worse than the fines. Someone had studied the bridge plans with professional precision. The burn points they kept referencing in their complaints matched critical load-bearing areas, the same areas someone would need to attack if they wanted the bridge to fail fast. By the time Everett reviewed his thermal camera feed and saw unfamiliar reflective vests near the anchor points, he knew the campaign had crossed into something deliberate. The last warning was simple. The next move would not be paperwork, it would be fire. At 2:13 in the morning, the fire came. It started at both ends of the suspension bridge, exactly as planned, and ran down the cables with violent speed. Orange light flooded the gorge, smoke rolled over the ridge, the bridge began to buckle. The county could not reach him, emergency crews could not cross. That was the point. Marlene wanted Everett isolated, scared, and desperate enough to sign away 240 acres of lakefront land. She wanted the ranch broken before dawn. Instead, Everett went straight to the equipment room beneath the barn, where he kept a locked steel case he had not opened in years. Inside were old service badges, sealed state files, original engineering plans, and emergency designation documents tied to the bridge. The truth hit harder than the fire. She had not just attacked private property, she had attacked protected infrastructure, a wildfire corridor, and a system designed to keep hundreds of homes safe. The trap had backfired before sunrise. By morning, Everett had pushed the footage to an old contact from his investigative days and encrypted every recording on a server outside the state. The thermal clips were devastating. 3 maintenance workers, accelerant, both ends of the bridge, Marlene standing on the hillside while the flames spread. More evidence followed fast, false surveys, altered records, an advanced development deal, and financial trails leading into Marlene's consulting fund. The moment investigators and county officials saw the full package, the power shifted. The HOA's polished story collapsed in public. At the emergency hearing, Everett laid out the original bridge designation, the protected emergency route, and the camera evidence showing exactly how the fire had been set. Marlene's composure shattered when the recordings were played back, and the room realized the fire had not been an accident, a rumor, or a misunderstanding. It had been a coordinated attempt to steal land. Her confidence turned into panic in seconds, because the man she thought she had trapped had spent years learning how to expose people who hid behind authority. The investigation spread fast. What looked like one burned bridge turned into a full corruption case. The HOA's illegal fines were reopened. Fraudulent liens were cleared. County records were audited. More properties came forward, revealing a long pattern of boundary manipulation, pressure campaigns, and forced sales. The resort plan was exposed as the real target all along. Marlene, the attorney, and the cooperating board members faced charges tied to arson, conspiracy, forgery, extortion, and evidence tampering. The HOA itself was eventually dissolved and replaced with an independent administrator. Everett was compensated for the bridge, the water illegally drawn from his land, and the damage done to the emergency route. He used part of that settlement to help restore the wildfire warning network across the region.
Months later, a stronger bridge rose over the gorge, wider and safer than the last one, with the old burned structure left below as a reminder of what happens when greed reaches too far. Everett refused to run the new community group that formed afterward. He only advised on safety and transparency. The mountain finally had rules the residents could trust, and Marlene learned too late what happens when you burn the bridge of the one man who knows exactly how to build a case against you. So the real question is this: when power hides behind a homeowners association, how long before someone finally pulls the curtain back?